Today we're going to be talking about a set of CDs which came out all the way back in 2000, and that's this set here. And these are known as mini LP CDs or paper sleeve CDs. So the covers are very similar to the ones which came in this very nice box set here, released a few years back. And here's an example, the Blue Hawaii album, and it's in a little cardboard sleeve which looks very similar to the American LP release. If you're wondering about the Japanese version of that box set, well, it's basically the American version imported, and then they added a little booklet. And this just has a translation of the liner notes in the English booklet into Japanese. There's no lyrics or anything like that. So mini LP CDs, they go back to around about 1994, I think, and the first rock mini LP CDs released were by Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and there were also some jazz CDs released at the same time. Now the way that they were packaged back then was they came like this, and this is one of the first Sony mini LP CDs from 1995, Bob Dylan album. So they came with the usual insert with the lyrics and so on, and the obi. But they also came in a plastic slipcase. There's the cover itself, looking very much like the American original album, and it also came in this slipcase. So these slipcases didn't last very long, just for a couple of years. And then they stopped making them, I guess because it was an expense that wasn't really necessary, and they also had a tendency to turn yellow, as you can see with this one here. Now Elvis's mini LP CDs didn't come out until 2000. By then it was a really popular way of selling CDs, and they came out in a series of 20, and I'm going to go through that series with you now. And later on we're going to be listening to one of those CDs and comparing it with a very early copy, and then also comparing it with one from the American box set, the RCA Albums collection. So I'll just take you through this set first of all. So the first album then here, back cover is the same as the American original. You can see that there's an orange obi there, and I'll show you what the inside it looks like. They all came in this inner sleeve here, Elvis Paper Sleeve Collection, and it shows you the 20 titles in the series. An insert, standard insert, Japanese liner notes and English lyrics, and the discs were made to look a little bit like the old RCA Black Label records. And they all came in this resealable plastic cover, and you can see that it has a red sticker on the front. I'll come back to that later on. The second album in the series was the second album. Back cover looks just like the American original, and inside is exactly the same as the first album, inner sleeve and insert. The next one is a Christmas album. I'll just show you this one because this is got a very nice cover. So on the inside, there's the insert. Very much like the American original LP, with the booklet and the photographs. And so on. You know what this looks like. It's all there, all complete. So the albums were still Black Label at that point, so the disc looks exactly the same as the first two. The next one in the series was Golden Records, followed by Gold Records Volume 2. Now you'll notice that there are several 1950s albums that are not in the series. That's because they were not released in this format at that time. There was another series released in 2001, and that included more of the 50s albums. Elvis is Back, the first 60s album. And again, this one comes in the gatefold, and it even has the opening at the top there, which I think is the same as the American album, and then the photos on the inside. Next album is GI Blues. And then we have His Hand in Mine. So they're very faithful reproductions of the original LP covers. There are slight differences, obviously, with copyright information and so on. So the next one is Blue Hawaii. And just take a moment to compare this with the one in the American box set. So you can see that the ones in the box set, the recent ones, are noticeably smaller than the Japanese ones. And I guess that's because these ones don't, the American ones don't have any inner sleeve. You just have the disc on the inside. This one has the inner sleeve and the insert, so you need a bit more space. Also the paper is a little bit different. These American ones have kind of like an eggshell, sort of smooth type finish, and the Japanese ones are quite rough, very much like an old American LP cover. And also the design is also quite similar to a proper LP cover. So you've got the back here with just a sheet pasted on over the top. And that's what the inside looks like. It's pretty solid cardboard, very well made. So the next one, we jump all the way to 1967 and How Great Thou Art. So you can see they all have this red sticker on the front there. And then we go forward again to the TV special. I'll show you this one because this was of course released on RCA. You still have the same inner sleeve, but this time the disc design has changed to orange to look like the orange RCA label. Next one, from Elvis in Memphis. None of these CDs have bonus tracks, by the way, just the same as the original LPs. Next one in the series is That's the Way It Is. And the next one is On Stage. Now you might be wondering why I'm showing you this one after That's the Way It Is. Well, it's just the order in the series. And the reason why this one goes first in the series is because in Japanese this was known as Elvis on Stage Volume 1, and this was known as Elvis on Stage Volume 2. Next one, Elvis Country. So all these covers are based on the American design, not the Japanese ones. You Touched Me. And the next one is Aloha from Hawaii. And I'll show you this one. Still on the orange label. What's different about this one is it has the die cut sleeve. Same inside cover, same back cover, and the same inner sleeve. And on the other side, of course, this monstrosity. The next one, Live in Memphis. So all the live albums were very popular in Japan, so they're all included in this first series, except Elvis in Person, which would be in the second series. And the next one is the Sun Sessions, using the American front cover. And I'll show you the disc for this. This time the disc has a tan color, like the tan LP label. And there's just one more. Any idea what number 20 is? It is Moody Blue. So there are some quite famous albums missing from the first series, but they would appear in the second series. And as you know, Moody Blue was released on blue vinyl, and they've even done a pretty good job of making that look like the blue vinyl record. So just one more thing before we listen to some of these CDs. You might be wondering about this red sticker that is on the front cover of all the plastic covers. And what this is, it was a special offer sticker. So if you collected all of those stickers and sent them away to BMG, you got a free gift, which was an EP. I can't remember if I've showed this before, but this was the EP that you got for free if you bought all those CDs and sent the red stickers away. 4-track EP, Heartbreak Hotel, Don't Be Cruel, Love Me Tender, Can't Help Falling in Love. And that's the lyrics on the back as usual, and it's an unusual orange label. It says BMG, not for sale, over there. So this was the present that you got if you bought all 20 CDs. What I'd like to do now is play you a track from 3 different CDs. The first one we'll be listening to is a very old CD from 1985. This is the first Japanese pressing of Blue Hawaii, going all the way back to 1985. And then we'll have a listen to the same song on this version here, which is from 2000, the mini LP CD version. Now, one thing I haven't told you so far about this series is that they were remastered, 24-bit 96 kilohertz remaster. Okay, so we'll listen to that, and finally we're also going to listen to this version here from the box set, which I think came out in 2016. So CD mastering technology has obviously advanced quite a lot since 1985, so you might expect to hear some big differences between this one from 85, this one from 2000, and this one from 2016. But let's take a listen and see what you think.
I'm a poor Hawaiian beach boy, a long way from the beach, 'cause someone shoved his face against my hand. Now I'm a kissing cousin to a ripe pineapple. I'm in a can. I was minding my own business, drinking daddy's juice. I swear I'll never touch that stuff again. Just like the pig before he gave his all at the luau, I'm in a pen. Got those Beach Boy blues. Don't the time go slow? Lonely Beach Boy blues. Only 30 days and 90 years to go. I want a taste of honey from my Hawaiian's lips. I wanna be her ever-loving man. But I'm a kissing cousin to a ripe pineapple. I'm in a can. I'm a kissing cousin to a ripe pineapple. I'm in a can.
So what did you think? Did you hear any big differences between those 3 CDs? Can we get rid of all our 1980 CDs, or do you think that early CD is still pretty good to listen to? Just one thing before I go. This set of CDs, the mini LP CDs from 2000, they were all available in the shops at the time, but they were also available in a box set, which is this. They came in this box here, Paper Slave Collection. And they all sit in there like a slipcase, and it also came with this little poster as well, which I'll show you. Paper Slave Collection. It has the designs of all the titles in the first 20, and then a calendar at the bottom. Right, that wraps it up for this week. If you have any comments or questions, just let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching as ever, and take care. Cheers.